and CTO of PayClip. The product is called Clip. It's a mobile point of sale solution for Latin America. We call it Join the Payment Revolution because we feel like everyone needs to be part of payment in Latin America. We feel like there's a big pain point with acceptance, and we feel like everyone needs to participate in that, whether it be a consumer, a merchant, and I think a big part of our company, we believe that developers can make a change in payments in Latin America. So the topic today is how can you accept payments in less time than you can actually get a pizza? And I think we've taken this to the core of how we develop our products. And I'll just tell you a little bit about what Clip is, what we currently do, and show you tell you a little bit about our technology, and then move into how very easily you can start accepting payments, whether it be you developing a mobile application and you want to provide payment acceptance for a merchant, or let's say you're developing a catalog application and you want to provide payments for face-to-face or card-present transactions, okay? So I'll tell you a little bit about why payments is needed in Mexico and in Latin America. I love this slide. I mean, if you've ever seen Chris Anderson from Wired present, this is a classic Wired magazine slide that talks about the pain point of actually accepting payments at the point of sale in Mexico, okay? If you try to get a payment terminal in Mexico, and you're a sole prop or a small business or even a developer, you probably will not end up getting a terminal, which is exactly what the slide says, after 9 months of trying to get a payment terminal. Clip is one of the companies in Mexico that lets you get a payment terminal in about 5 minutes, okay? And our motto is that we let everyone in Mexico take credit cards and debit cards. And it doesn't matter how you want to accept those payments, whether that be through a face-to-face, so you show up and you want to swipe your card, or you want to insert your chip card, or whether that be you're developing a mobile application and you want to embed a mobile library that lets you accept payments very, very quickly. We want to be that payment solution that you think about, and we think we can do it a lot faster, and we think that developers are a really big part of that equation for us, okay? This is my favorite slide. This is Starbucks in Mexico, and by raise of hands, can everyone here tell me if you've actually seen this in Starbucks? How many of you have seen this in Starbucks? This never happens in any other country in the world, and it's because there's so much underinvestment in payments, okay? Imagine that you are the salesperson or the manager behind trying to accept payments. How do you know which payment machine you've got to slide the credit card or debit card on? It's very, very complex, okay? This is not how payments should be in Mexico or any other part of the world, and that's what Clip is hoping to revolutionize by changing the way that payments can be accepted very, very simply. So what you see on the right, on the far left, is the Clip hardware, which is this over here. It's one of the only payment readers in the world that has something called as a corner dip, and I'll tell you what that means. So you're probably all used to having your credit card, your chip card inserted all the way into a credit card machine. Clip is the only reader in the world that actually does something called as a corner dip. Okay, it only makes contact with your EMV part, so your credit card or debit card is still not making contact. This is very, very important from a security standpoint. This little piece of hardware also can do a swipe. So if you want to be able to swipe your card in the front, you can also do a swipe. So it's one of the few readers in the world that can do a swipe and a dip. Okay, and this was all designed from the ground up in Silicon Valley using some of the best designers in the world. We've built our own software. We are a fully vertically integrated company. We own the firmware. We own the plastic. We own the manufacturing line. There's nothing that we outsource. We own the firmware engineers, sit with us in Silicon Valley. And last of all, and the best part of all of it, we built everything so a developer can actually access that through our SDKs. And I'll go into that by actually showing you what we have on GitHub, because we believe that when we talk to a developer, we want you to go to our GitHub repo and see what we have coming, okay? And I'll walk through that in a little bit. So the most important part, we want you to be able to go back and say, with Clip, I can do card present, or I can even do a card not present transaction, and do that very, very quickly. Okay? What are some of our unique capabilities? We have, again, as the previous slide said, we're a company that focuses a lot on product to the merchant and to the end. We make sure that you have the merchant or the person that's using our solution is very, very happy. And this is the experience that we call a wow experience. Customer service is not something that is readily available in Mexico, but we believe it's very, very important. And we deliver that. And the next few aspects are the cost and the team structure, which are very critical to any company succeeding. Okay? So I'll go back to this slide. I'll leave it here for a second. And I'll show you very quickly where you can find everything about Clip. Okay? So we use GitHub for everything. So github.com, ClipMX, if I can get my internet to work here. All right. Do you know the internet is down or something? It's okay. I'll do something else. All right. While GitHub loads up here, I'm not going to waste all of your time. I'm just going to show you so by show of hands here, how many of you are iOS developers? iOS developers? All right. Excellent. All right. So on GitHub, on the ClipMX, if you can go on your laptop, you'll notice there's something called as an iOS in-app SDK. Okay? Let me provide you some context. So let's say you're developing a mobile application. Let's just say you're trying to do work with somebody that needs to do food ordering ahead of time. Let's just say you're trying to sell your products by developing an application on the App Store, and you want to be able to have the consumers pay for the product in your application, and these are physical products, not digital products. We provide you the opportunity to, with our libraries, to accept those payments very, very quickly. And I'll walk you through a very quick video while this loads up, so you can understand from a developer standpoint how this is done.
Just the raw GitHub repo to
All right, so hopefully this will play through the audio.
Okay, so we're going to start by creating a brand new Xcode project, and we're going to use just the single view application. And we're going to call this MPL demo, create that on the desktop, just have a convenient place. Okay, and now we're done. We can just exit out of Xcode real quick. Now, we need to install the library via CocoaPods. So we're going to use the terminal for this and go to dev.
All right, I just want to pause here for a second. How many of you here in iOS have used CocoaPods? Show of hands. Okay, so CocoaPods on iOS is one of the most amazing things that Apple has allowed developers to do. You know how when you pull in an SDK, let's say you're using a library and someone else is also using the same library for something else. You've got to resolve dependencies in Xcode to say, this is my version of the library and this is somebody else's version of the same library that they're using. CocoaPod resolves all dependencies in our libraries. So if we're using a library that the application is also using, CocoaPod resolves those dependencies automatically for a developer. Okay? So it knows how to version your set of libraries versus our set of libraries. And we use CocoaPods. That's what the developer here is talking about. I can share this video with, email me at the very end, you'll see our link, and I'll share this video, and we'll put it on GitHub as well. But the developer here is talking about using CocoaPods, which resolves all dependencies in Xcode.
And go to NPL demo, and there's only 3 folders there currently. We run a pod init, that will have CocoaPods create a pod file for us. You can see that it's there. So now we're going to edit the pod file. And just get that indented. And now we're using just the raw GitHub repo to install the pod. That's because this time we don't have the pod spec in the master repo. It should be when everything's all sorted out. And now we run a pod install. We're just going to bring that down. Okay, so now from now on we're going to use the Xcode workspace instead of the project. So if we just do a quick open npl demo.xcode workspace, Xcode's going to open up, and here is our project. We can go ahead and build and run, and we're going to get a blank project. As soon as the signal comes up. There it is, just a blank project. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we are going to edit viewController.h. And the first thing we can do is bring in the library. Bring in widget.h. And come down here into widget load, and we are going to bring in some code that sets up the widget. So this is the wrong access token, so we are going to delete that and bring in.
So I just want to pause. So that line of code that you see, the clip widget, if you go to GitHub and you go to the iOS in-app checkout SDK, that's where the developer is pulling up that line of code. The clip widget.h is the header file that CocoaPod automatically resolves and identifies. And just want to make sure that you guys can see that on GitHub as well. This is not code. He's picking that up from GitHub directly from the public repo.
The correct access token. And you'll notice that I'm setting nil for the app icon and the app name. If an app icon and a name are provided, we will show that inside of the flow. So now the widget's created, and the only thing that we need to do now is run widget setup. This is going to kick off the process to go out to the Clip API and pull down any saved car data that has been previewed that is associated with this account. Now, the view for the widget is not immediately available because it's still setting itself out, so we can either add it immediately or we can listen for the delegate methods for when that callback completes, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to implement these callbacks. The important one is widget view is ready. So what we want to do here is say that views.center is going to be equal to the self.view.center, and we're just going to add that as a subview now. So self.view subview and add view. All right, done. So now if we go and run this, as soon as that came back, it was added as a sub.
All right, guys, so this is with the developer walking you through how to do that on Xcode. And you just have your payment widget now. The example shows with somebody's credit card on file. That's the widget that you can load on any screen where you decide that you want a consumer to pay. Okay? I've been timing this, and with someone explaining it to you with all the code, with using CocoaPods, that's taken me about 6 or 7 minutes. So when we told you that it's quicker than you ordering a pizza and having it done before before the pizza guy comes, we really mean it, okay? And if you think that you can do it in the same amount of time we explained it on the video, please send us an email, and we'd love to hear your feedback on what we can do. Because we really think that developers are the core of how we function, and this is really the embodiment of how we can actually change payments in Mexico and as well as in Latin America.
Trying to add that before the view is ready, we'll just have a spinner, an activity indicator, and the widget will be disabled. So from here, I can select some pre-existing cards, so we'll just go ahead and select this Visa that we've used. And it's automatically going to send an SMS code, and it's going to send it, it may or may not send it to the correct phone number that's been saved, and so we can just hit back, and we can come down and put the right phone number in here. And it's going to send an SMS to that number, and as soon as it comes along, we will get that verification code. Okay, and that is 1654, and the payment is complete. The other flow we can go through is adding a new card, and if we do that, we'll just get the option to insert new card data, and at the end we might have the option to save that card for future use. And that concludes integrating the mobile payment library into your app.
All right. By show of hands, how many of you thought that was quick and that's something that you guys can do in iOS within 20 minutes? Any iOS developers here volunteering that they can do it in about 20 minutes? No one? Really? Would you guys do this if this was in Java? If this was Android, would you guys think that you can do it in 20 minutes? You won't do it? We'll give you a clip. We're selling this for 500 pesos. You get this for free. Try it. We'd love to get your feedback. Seriously, this is the only way the developer community can improve, guys. You got to try, and you got to keep trying. And this is how the developer community can influence. When I came on stage and I said it's a payment revolution, we were not calling it a payment revolution because we wanted to say something lightly. Okay, every developer here in Mexico has got to understand that for Mexico to go to the next level, it has to become the place for incubation. Look at what's happening in Silicon Valley with companies being bought. Mexico can become that place for technology incubation. Okay. And the heart of that is developers. And we believe that by creating technology like this, which enables developers to quickly provide monetization solutions for merchants, we can really change the way that Mexico can take payments into a different landscape in Mexico. Okay. Hopefully the internet is back up, and I'll just take you to the. Okay, want to do it here? Okay. Sorry, we're just going to change monitors really quick. Awesome. All right. Thank you. Okay, so this is what you guys saw in the video. Okay, these are the screens. You guys saw the payment widget, the pay button. You enter a new credit card. You enter your SMS. This is something that we do uniquely where anytime you do it through a credit card payment, we ask you for your phone number. We then send you a 4-digit code to that phone number. Imagine the number of times you are paying with your credit card and you wish you knew that your card was being charged. Imagine that every single time your credit card was being used, that you got a notification automatically, you would know someone was trying to use your card fraudulently, okay? So from a consumer standpoint, we believe this adds a lot of security and protection, and that's why we do the out-of-band verification, and then it says the payment is complete. The bottom part is about CocoaPods. If you haven't done CocoaPods, read up on it. It's one of the best things on iOS that resolves dependencies. When I paused to show you about the widget, that was a line of code that the developer put in. And when he copied and pasted a whole block of code about callbacks, he was referring to the bottom about being notified when you had success and failures. This is all you need if you were to go in and try to and start accepting payments, okay, guys? This is the barrier, and this is really how simple someone should be able to start providing payment acceptance to any merchant that needs it. I'll step into one more thing really quick for you guys. We started out with trying to say that mobile was very, very important, okay? And we said it's a mobile-first approach. We did everything from card present to card not present for mobile. But we realized that for developers, there was a big opportunity around the web as well, okay? So we now have the ability, if you're creating a site, a website or a mobile site, and somebody says, hey, I would love to know if you can help me with payment acceptance, okay? We said, okay, there are tons of developers that can provide a lot of value add in the surface, in this space. So we came up with something very, very simple. By show of hands here, how many of you guys know JavaScript? JavaScript? Great. I love JavaScript, okay? Here is how easy it is to actually create payment acceptance on the web, okay? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 lines of JavaScript is all you need to add in order to allow payment acceptance on the web, okay? Go to GitHub, copy that code, click on the sample HTML file, and you'll see that there's actually a web acceptance widget, okay? It doesn't get simpler than this as far as the developer is concerned. We're not asking you to remember what is a test API key, a production API key. We don't think developers should be concerned about that. We think as far as what a developer should be doing, focused on, is really using the technology to simplify a task for someone that can't do it really well, okay? This is already mobile optimized, so if you have a mobile optimized site and you have a website, this widget automatically adapts to your website as well as your mobile site. The beauty of JavaScript and media queries, we can handle all of that automatically behind the scenes. And for all the tech geeks over here that love JavaScript, one of the things that we did over here to enable this widget to work is something called as JSON-P. How many here know JSON-P? Okay? When you have a widget that works in somebody else's domain, you have to use JSON-P, which allows you to do a callback, a scripting function to callback, so you can execute your APIs, okay, within that. The language or the technology that existed before JSON-P is something called as CORS. It's cross-origin resource sharing. JSON-P was a hack, but it allowed us to basically create an in-page experience, okay? So let me copy this. If I had my laptop back again, I could show it to you. I'm just going to switch laptops again back to mine so I can show you how this 10 lines of code in JavaScript execute. Got it. No, it's fine. All right. That was a sample HTML file that was on GitHub. It's the same sample HTML file that I just clicked on. You can look at how the widget looks exactly like what we did on iOS, okay? So whether you're developing something for iOS or Android, or you're actually using it for the web, the widget looks exactly the same. This is completely optimized to work even on a mobile site. You'll see the similarity here. I've been doing a lot of testing and collecting a lot of credit cards, so I can actually go use them at Palacio Hierro. So don't look at these credit card numbers. But honestly, guys, that was 10 lines of JavaScript, okay? Our JavaScript file is located on S3. You can download it. It's on GitHub. Add those 10 lines of JavaScript. And this is really how simple it should be to accept payments, okay? We're not asking you to go and create a sandbox account on Clip. We're not telling you you have to then create a different configuration parameter to move to production. Yes, that's only done when you're ready to go live. But really, what better way for a developer to say, I can now show payment acceptance to a merchant and demo that in front of them live, okay? That, we truly believe that's a power that a developer should have when they want to sell the tools, the technical tools that they've got and grow payment acceptance, okay? That's all I've got for today. I'll show you a transaction with Clip at the very end in case you're curious about how we do a chip and swipe. But I'll open it up for questions if you guys have in terms of anything about web payments or JavaScript, anything to do with iOS. Our Android SDK is about 2 weeks away. If you go to our GitHub, you'll notice that there's already a place for it. We're about 2 weeks behind. We'll have it in mid-July. But if you guys have any questions on iOS or the web, I'll open it up for questions right now.
Well, the question.
Hey.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And the question is regarding the security that you're using for this application. Where do you store the credit card information from the customers, or if we apply this Clip, do we have to store that information?
No. So yeah, so very good point. Thank you for bringing it up. An often forgotten question in the world of payment. So everyone who has done anything on payments probably knows about PCI DSS, about payment card compliance. Everything that Clip doesn't require a merchant or a developer to get PCI compliance, okay? Everything is between a form, something that's hosted by us, and directly to our server. So unlike a lot of other companies that require you to send the information from the client to your server, and your server has an SDK that you then send the information over to the payment server, our communication is directly between the web browser and our server, okay? Because of that, we had to use JSON-P for the web, okay? So instead of using JSON, we had to go with JSON-P because we're working in somebody else's domain, right? You have to originate an API request from a domain that's not yours, and the way you do that is using JSON-P, okay? In the case of iOS, that widget is owned by Clip, the property. Everything is owned by Clip. Nothing needs to go to your server, so you don't need to even have a server running. Let's just say your app was completely built on iOS, where you never had to call anything on your own server. The widget would still work because it doesn't have any dependency on you calling out to your server. Does that make sense? The card information is stored on Clip. Nothing gets persisted on the device or the web. All that you're seeing is a set of information being returned by APIs. The iOS is an SDK that's wrapped around a set of APIs, and there's no information that's persisted on the device or on a browser in any form or shape.
Hi.
Hi.
That is a good new tool for us.
Yep.
And I'm interested in, is there a way that the people can sell the payment or something if they are, I mean, if someone stole the target and use it in Clip? So,
okay.
Is there a way that I can call you or something that payment, it wasn't for me?
Oh yes, absolutely. So one of the things that we showed on the beginning, guys, is customer support, okay? The way that at Clip we model customer support is we believe that customer support is customer happiness, like the Zappos. in America, when you buy a shoe through Zappos and you don't like your shoe, it doesn't matter if you've used it for 6 months, they say, we're happy to take your shoe back and give you the shoe you need. We want to deliver that level of customer support in payments, okay? So if there's a charge that you don't think is a fraudulent charge, absolutely, we have a 1-800 number on the site. You can call us, and we're happy to talk to you and resolve that for you. Okay, it's not like we're going to charge you to resolve the problem. We believe that customers and merchants should be happy, not by paying a charge, but because that's what everyone deserves to get. Okay? Any other questions? So, sorry, go ahead.
Well, another question.
I can't hear you.
Okay. You say that it's really quick to set up everything in the application, but what about the cost for a small business? Let's say that we have a small business with 100 customers. How many it will cost for a small business to get all the things that they have to have?
Can you say that question about the details in the small business again?
Yeah. How many it will cost to a small business to start?
I'm sorry, how many what?
It will cost.
How much will it cost?
Yeah.
For the integration?
Yep.
The integration is straightforward. If you're a developer, you can do this yourself.
Yes, but I mean, you have to buy the clip and...
No, so slight difference, right? Mm-hmm. So what I showed you on iOS is, let's say you're developing a mobile application, okay? And you want to sell your products, physical products, okay? I'll give you an example. Let's say you're saying it's Valentine's Day, and I want to be able to have an app that people can come in and order flowers that they can go pick up at a florist, okay? And you want them to be able to pay with their credit card right then and there, so they don't forget and go back home on Valentine's Day without flowers, okay? You can now put in this payment acceptance in your app. It has nothing to do with the hardware, right? Because it's a card not present, which means you have an app, the consumer downloads your app and says, I need to buy a dozen roses before I go back home on Valentine's Day. They can basically pay with their credit card, go to the florist, pick up the roses, and go home. Okay, so that's one aspect. The second aspect of what you said about buying this clip, that is more for face-to-face transactions. Okay, so today you saw what happens in Starbucks. If you want to replace getting 10 machines with a single reader, that is the clip reader. Okay, so this today costs you about 500 pesos to purchase. The app is free, and you can start accepting payments in less than 48 hours, okay? You purchase this online, you go online, you order a clip, go to clip.mx, you buy this, you set yourself up with an account, and you start accepting payments, and it's 3.6% for all cards, okay, including American Express, which is unheard of. That we're the only payment provider in Mexico right now that has American Express acceptance, okay? Slightly different, it's a card-present scenario. Any other questions? All right. No other. So before I wrap up, go to github.com/clipmx to find everything we're doing. So any one of you that's developing an application to do with catalogs, inventory, where you need to see face-to-face transactions, absolutely, there's an SDK for that as well, where you as a developer can use what we have built for our own Clip app inside your app for face-to-face commerce, and you can start delivering value to the catalog or inventory applications, okay? So it's two different cases, the consumer-facing application and a merchant-facing application, okay? The merchant-facing application is face-to-face commerce. The consumer-facing application is a card-not-present transaction that's done through the widget, okay? Very straightforward. I'll just go to the very end of my PDF here in terms of how you can reach out to us. Developer@payclip.com. These emails come directly to me. Feedback on technology, anything that you saw in JavaScript that you want to make better. If you have questions about JSON-P, that you want to know how JSON-P works, email me. If you want to know about CocoaPods and want to talk to one of our developers, we'd love to explain how CocoaPods work. We're a developer-focused company. Developers come first for us. Any questions you guys have on development, absolutely reach out to us. If you guys are thinking about, I'll just very briefly talk about our technology stack because it's a technical crew here. At Clip, we use Scala. I don't know if you guys have come across functional programming. We used to run our front-end stack on Python. We moved to Scala on the Play 2 framework, and our back-end components run on Java. So if you guys have any questions on functional programming, is it real? Can we use it? What can we use it for? Email us at developer@payclip.com. I monitor this email inbox. Jair here is one of the product managers at Payclip, is also happy to answer questions in Spanish. I'm still trying to learn Spanish, so forgive me for that. But again, we're developer focused. Do not hesitate to contact us. We'd love to hear from you, no matter what your questions are on technology and development. The widget. Okay. This one. Okay. So when you go to ClipMX, you guys don't need to sign up for any sandbox account. What you see on GitHub is fully fleshed out for you as a developer. Okay, you don't have to go in and say, oh, where do I get an API key? Is it a test API key? Is it a production API key? What is the API environment that I need to figure out? You don't need to do anything. As long as you've got the widget and as long as you can find the JavaScript, it resolves itself. Okay, this technology is smart, and I think we should really make things easy for developers. That's our outlook. And if you think that you have some comments on how we can improve, again, we'd love to hear from you. Okay. I can show you a Clip transaction if you guys are curious. Raise of hands. Okay, great. So I do it on the, I'll do it on that so it's bigger. One more demo. Okay. All right, so one more thing. With our product, I'm sure I'm butchering this word, and I'm sure I have to have Jair say that instead of me. Mensualidades, which is installments. Being able to pay in 3, 6, 9, 12, rather than pay the payment amount in one go. That's also available in the product with a single swipe. Okay, so you don't need to go in and so if you ever go into Palacio Hierro or one of the big department stores, if you want to be able to buy a product on mensualidades or meses sin intereses, what's going to happen is they're going to say, okay, let me look at your card. Okay, this is a Bancomer card. Let me go find the terminal. There's about 10 different payment terminals. Let me find the terminal that matches Bancomer, the credit card, and swipe that. And then you have to look on the payment terminal and say, okay, I want to do a 6 months payments with no interest. Okay, mensualidades. With a single application now, we currently have this for Amex. We're developing it for all the other banks. With a single swipe of a card, I can automatically say, hey, do you want to pay the whole amount? Let's just say it's 1,000 pesos. Or do you want to pay this in 3, 6, 9, 12, okay? There's no need for you to go back and have a second terminal and a third terminal and multiple connections. We do all of that with a single app, with a single swipe. Okay, so I'm going to show you how that works, and hopefully Jair here is set up as a merchant properly, or if not, I'm going to log out and just make sure I have the right user ID to log in with, so just bear with me. No, I got it.
It's a production version.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right, just had to find the right user ID as far as setup. Okay. So this is the Clip app. Got it on a Samsung Galaxy Note 3, just so you guys can see it really well. We have support all the way from iPhone 3GS, iOS 6, all the way to an iPhone 5S. On Android, we have 4.0 and above, all the way from a really small Sony Xperia ST23A, all the way to a 10-inch tablet. Okay, so you can accept payments anywhere. So you can see here that it says that the Clip is not connected. I connect my phone, I connect the reader. You can see here it says the Clip card is connected. Very simple. I can swipe or I can dip this card and it'll automatically process the transaction. We also have something in Clip where you can actually do something called as a manual card enter. So let's just say for some reason the cardholder forgot their card, has their card memorized, seems really sketchy, but let's assume that it does happen, or the card did not work for swipe and EMV. You can manually type in that card. So we have a lot of smarts built in, so as soon as you start typing the number, it will show you the card brand. It'll also tell you where to find the CVV, which is on the back of the card. If I type in an Amex card, okay, 37, it tells you that the 4-digit code is located on the front of the card, not on the back of the card. Okay, so it tells you it's predictive and it tells you based on cards what the card brand is and such. So I'll just show you a quick transaction here on an Amex. Okay, I want to charge 500 pesos. Very simple. I've got this over here. I've got my Amex card. Okay, so this transition that you see, we build this as a custom animation. It's called it's a sine wave animation. We think it's really relevant because you still see the amount in the background, but it's asking you to enter the CID, the 4-digit number for Amex. Okay, mine is 6937, and my postal code. Sorry. All right, I'm going to do this demo on an iPhone. I think this is a... Sorry, guys. I'm not the only one. Steve Jobs also has problems with demos, so I'll put myself in that category for now. Okay, same thing on iOS. This works on iPhone 5. Hopefully this one works over here. Trying to charge 500 pesos here, so on my Amex card. Swipe it. It's the same transition effect whether you're on iOS or on an Android. Okay, it's consistency. Sorry, the internet here, it's taking a while to... Just bear with me a second. I'm just going to switch over, take it off of Wi-Fi here, just run it on 3G because it's faster on 3G. All right, back on a 3G connection. Apologies for that. Okay, I've got the amount. Hopefully this time, third time's a charm, I hope. It even tells me that I've got a bad swipe if I do it incorrectly. All right, so the screen that you see over here, I don't know if everyone can see it. It has 3, 6, 9, 12 on it, which basically is the number of installment option. It's mensualidades that you can now pay. If you click skip here, basically what it does, it means you don't want to pay with installments. But if let's just say I say, you know what, it's 500 pesos. It's a big amount. I really don't want to pay for it in full. I want to pay for it with 12 months. Great. I can go through here, and unfortunately, this account is set up. We detected some fraud because I'm traveling with my US phone, so it said it's failed. But usually what we'll go through, and I'll just do a low transaction amount here where you guys can see the signature screen, okay? Okay. So that's the signature screen, okay? So on this screen, you can sign with your finger. One of the unique things that we've done in our app is something called as Cursive Recognition. So if let's say I draw very, very slowly, it's a very thick line, but when I go really fast, it's a thinner line, so we can recognize signature. You triple tap on the screen to clear the signature. Okay, so the signature's gone with a triple tap, and I can sign my name, and it recognizes all kind of curvature patterns. We use Cocos 2D to create this special effect with signature. So if you need to know the code, email me at developer@payclub.com. We'll tell you how we did cursive recognition with Cocos 2D. Okay, I'm just going to cancel this transaction so I don't want to get charged. Again, the app is available for free. You can find this on the App Store, whether in US or in Mexico. The app is fully available in Spanish, and yeah, again, if you have any questions, email me, and we'll get back to you. All right? Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.